First of all, I took my older lifecast because it's got more of the side of my face, because the newer lifecasts don't go too far back. They're more for detail. And what I've done is I've applied a thin layer of fresh clay over the top, and then I'm using these little tools which have like a ball on the end, which are cake decorating tools, and I'm using them just to carve into the clay the rough shape of the wound that I want to create on the side of my cheek. Then I use the smaller one just to scrape along the edges to round off the piece in the middle, because that's going to be the sort of exposed bone and muscle part, and I'm just taking off that edge and rounding it off like so. As you can see, probably by looking, the clay has dried a little tiny bit, so it's a bit firmer, and I did that because when it was wet it does come off the life cast quite easy, but now it's a little drier, it's easier to carve into to create the shapes that I want without it lifting off the life cast so much. And then I'm using the other ball tool just to go around the edges and round off and deepen around the edges. And basically it's just smoothing down and defining the shapes a bit. And in a little bit you'll see where I'll use the ball tool and I'm sort of scraping along. There you go, you can see me doing it now. I'm scraping along and that will create lines in the clay, and then when I smooth those out, that will give me a sort of muscle texture that I wanted to create, because I wanted it to look like you can see the exposed bit of bone, but then also there's like some bits of muscle and stuff attached to it around it. Then I'm using the very small tool to create a gash just above that large wound, because I want it to look like that side of my face is all bashed up, so I'm creating a few cuts here and there on that side of my face, which I will sculpt. I'm sculpting them now, and then I'll make moulds of them, so I've got a few prosthetic pieces to apply to my face. Then I'm going back with the smaller tool and scraping into the clay to create very fine lines to make it look like there's a bit of muscle attached still to the jaw, and like, you know, a bit of skin or whatever from underneath. Then I'm just putting a bit of clay on my chin, which is just about in shot, and I'm going to use that to create a cut on my chin as well. So there's going to be a cut on my chin, a cut on my nose, a large one on my forehead, a couple on my cheek, and then the big wound exposing a bit of jawbone. I'm just going through and just deepening that little cut on my chin. And then in a second it will cut to a closer view of the wound, and I'll show you the texture that I've added. Okay, so if you look closely you can see those lines, so it sort of looks like there's bone or flesh attached to the bone and around the bone. So if you look, that's what the wounds are going to look like on my face and the large cheek wound. And then the next stage will be to create the moulds. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed this video. Bye for now.